Get ready for the Girls on Games podcast, your weekly dose of news, reviews, and everything video games. Always served with a good helping of hype and just a pinch of salt. And now, your host, Leah.
Hello, and welcome to the Girls on Games podcast. I am your host, Joelle Anderson. No, I am not Leah. Leah is hopefully, fingers and toes crossed, on an airplane, getting to her destination and not stuck in an airport. So I am hosting this week, and I also want to introduce you to my wonderful friend on the pod, Kat. Hello.
Hello.
I just want to get a little bit of housekeeping before we kick the show off here. Want to remind folks to subscribe to Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Podbean. I also want to let you know that you can get GOG merch at designbyhumans.com/shop/girlsongames. And if you want to support the pod directly, you can buy us a Ko-fi. That's ko-fi.com/girlsongames. All right. So, Kat, how have you been this week?
Yeah, well, it's been a while because you were there last week.
I know. It felt very weird.
Yeah. But I am coming to the ends of my travels and tribulation with appliance shopping. Because this week,
good.
Yeah, this weekend I went to a store. Not a big box store, an independent store, and I just looked at stuff, and there was some guy that's been selling appliances for 20 years that answered all my questions, showed me like 20 different models and stuff like that. And because I had decided to buy a better brand and really upgrade, I had a lot of questions before, because I went from a washer that costs around $1,000 to a washer that costs around $2,500. Yeah, I was like, what's the difference, my guy? Is it a difference? Blah, blah, blah. And he was like, yes, there is at one point, there's a mid-range where the price matters. And yeah, so I got that in a dishwasher.
Ooh.
Yes, because our dishwasher died like 4 years ago, and it's just been a decoration. I paid to have everything delivered and installed. I'm like, and the salesman was like, you can buy it directly through the company. It's going to be more expensive, but you can find it. I'm like, at this point, guy, I just need it to be done. The executive dysfunction needs to stop.
Yes, yeah. I need to just get this into my house now, please.
Exactly. And it's just like, so yeah, for the install, take the old away and everything. And like today, I get a call from the person who's going to install the dishwasher. Because I think what's going to happen is they're going to deliver, and they're going to install their washer and dryer, but the dishwasher they outsourced to like somebody special. And I was like, okay. And he calls me, we're on the phone, and he's like, okay, your current dishwasher, is it an outlet or is it directly connected? I'm like, it's directly connected. He's like, okay, we're going to have to install an outlet because this brand requires an outlet, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, it's an extra $40. And I'm like, okay, whatever. At this point, like I spent like 8,000 Canadian on this whole ordeal. I'm like, what's another 40? I'm like, just get this dishwasher in my house and working. And I'm like, okay, but I have a question. Like, what if I get another dishwasher that doesn't use an outlet? And he's like, and he just stops and he's like, ma'am, you've bought a Miele. You'll be good for 15 to 20 years. When you get to that point, you can buy another dishwasher that has an outlet, or the outlet can be like, he was basically like, lady, you bought something good. Like,
yeah.
We're not changing this dishwasher in the next 5 years. Like, yeah. I was like, okay. So
it wasn't a bad question, but I see where he's coming from.
Yeah, because here it is. It's like when I moved to Montreal in 2008, and when I bought this duplex in 2016, in these two steps, I bought appliances. I bought entry-level appliances. So, and for some reason, the stuff from 2008 is still going strong. Amazing. Even if it's basic Whirlpool and GE stuff. I did the same for the washer and dryer and the dishwasher when we moved here and renovated the kitchen. GE and Whirlpool were not the move there because that dishwasher barely lasted 2 years. The washer and dryer, the washer started to fall apart after 8 years. And in those 8 years, I did have some maintenance on both appliances. So I'm sitting here like, I don't get why everything is falling apart right now, but it's just like I'm 15 years into my life in Montreal, and it's like, I got to change the mattress. I got to change the couch. This oven is on its way out. The oven, I'm going to try to see if I can get some fixed. It's probably like $100, and it'll save me a lot of trouble. So far the fridge is going strong. Like, if that fridge dies. But yeah, it's just like I'm sitting here like, why in my old shit, and I'm like, there's the cycle of like 10 years.
Yep.
So I'm hoping the washer, dryer, and dishwasher are set. Everybody told me when they're like, what did you buy? I'm like, Miele. They're like, you're good for like 15 to 20 years. I'm like, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. And like having them installed by the company is like extending my warranty for a year. And I'm like, yeah, I hope so. Because like, if not, I'm going to be mad to be spending that kind of money for something that doesn't last.
Oh, for sure. Especially when it's like the reputation to last.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what the hell?
But like so far, like everybody I told, like the salesman was like, they last super long. I'm like, sure, you just want to sell. When I talked to the technician and he was like, lady, you bought something that's going to be good for 15 years. I'm like, okay. I'm starting to trust.
Yeah.
I'm starting to like calm down. But yeah, because I've been budgeting for these appliances and I wanted to upgrade and I wanted to buy something better. But like, I was just hitting a wall in my head of like, I can't just go on the Home Depot website or the Rona website or like any kind of plans website and just be like just like digitally put in something and just like have a like $5,000 to $8,000 charge to my credit card. I was like, I think I need to do this old school. I just need to go to a store. And one that has a good reputation, found in mom and pop shop. They have like 3 locations around Montreal. And I was just like, hi, sir. Please help me. Convince me. I'm like, I'm halfway into like these like German European brands like Miele, Bosch, whatever, Bloomberg. And it's just like, but help me take the plunge. Yeah. Because like there's something stopping me. And he was like, all right.
It was I'll help you just because I want you to be okay.
Yeah, basically. But yeah. So they're getting delivered on Wednesday. I still have to I have to call back the guy for the dishwasher because he comes after. So by this weekend, I should have working appliances. In the meantime, my brother and his family that lives downstairs, they're away for a week. So I was like, yo, can I use your washer and dryer? Because like this whole like trying to keep my washer from breaking down thing is not cool. And they have like full size machines, of course. They do. There are 6 downstairs.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So yeah, it was great to do less loads because the washer is bigger. But having to go down 3 stories because it's in their basement and I'm on the 2nd floor, I was like, oh, I'm glad I still don't have a busted back because this would be impossible.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Or like live in a building where you have to change floors, like to do laundry.
Yeah, because like basically they do because it's in the basement, but they just go 1 flight of stairs. But I've lived in apartments ever since I moved to Montreal. I'm used to having the washer and dryer like somewhere around the kitchen. My old apartment had a washer and dryer like near the kitchen, and when we renovated here, I was like, I like that. Let's do this. I'll buy the compact. Let's stack them. It's great. Compact. Gotta do smaller loads, but you know, I can manage it. But I would rather do more loads, smaller loads, and just have it conveniently in the middle of the place than doing less loads, but having to do all this up and down. Must be great for my cardio, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, I hear that. Yeah, I chose my condo mostly because it was within budget and it had a laundry unit inside, but I forgoed a balcony. I don't have a balcony. But I thought, well, I'll use a balcony like 3-4 months out of the year, and I'll use my laundry unit every week. So
yeah,
and the laundry.
And nowadays, like with the new dryers, because I had to go with a new kind of dryer, and that size, they don't make a lot of vented dryers, so they're all like heat pump dryers.
Yeah.
Don't need a hose to the outside.
That's so weird.
Yeah. It's basically like the heat pumps that you use for your house, but it reuses the hot air and the humid air, and it drains. It has a filter that like a reservoir that you can empty, or you can drain it directly into like the same drain for your washer. And I think because I'm getting them stacked, they can just connect it to the washer and it'll drain to the washer.
Oh,
hose.
wow.
Yeah. So you don't need an external. The guy was like, oh, it takes about 20% longer to dry anything, but he's like, it's gentler on the clothes and you don't need an external vent, and it actually produces less heat in the house. And you don't need a 240 connection. It connects to a 120.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So the only thing is they say you need to have like your washer and your dryer on separate like networks. Like they can't be the same plug. And but like it's coming with an adapter that you put into the 240, and that has two plugs, and then you can plug the washer and dryer in that 240. And that way you have like, it's adapted for like North America, Canada, and United States. Like, and I was just like, okay, this is all new to me. So, and of course I had to go to Home Depot and get something to cap the vent.
Yeah.
I went in the HVAC section. I was just like, just grabbed like a piece of like, I know that was a piece of like dryer vent, and just went to the cap and was like, that's the one I need.
Yeah. At least you'll need to do one Home Depot run for like a 2 appliance install. That's pretty good. Those are pretty good odds.
Yeah, they come with like, this one, that's the thing about buying these luxury brands, people. They come with all the accessories. I was like, do I need to, like, and they were like, oh yeah, the hose if they get corroded. I'm like, do I need to buy new hose, or like, are my old hose working? And the guy's like, no, they have their own hose. I was like, what? It was like, no, they come with their own connectors that are flat and everything. It's all in the box. And I was like, okay, and the adapter? He's like, it's all in the box. I'm like, the only thing you have to buy extra is the stacking kit. And I was like, okay, and for the like the washer, like the dishwasher, I had to buy like a connector or something. He was like, no connectors. It's all in the box. They comes with a box of connectors. They find the right one. I was just like, okay. I've been burned. I've been getting burned by all of these like low range, like appliances. Because the guy was like, no, nothing. I'm like, okay, then do I have to do anything myself? He's like, lady, you're paying $350 for the install. No. You point at it.
Kat's not used to this all-inclusive purchase that she's getting what she's paying for.
No, I'm so used to like buying this, like the basic stuff, and then me and my brother spending an afternoon trying to get that shit to work.
Trying to fix it. Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? We're middle-aged. We've been working for a while. If I budget right, like if I budget that extra $500, I'm just going to throw it at a bunch of guys with better backs.
Yep. That have done this a million times.
Like, honestly, like, if it weren't, it's easy to connect a washer and dryer, but like stacking them, I ain't doing that shit. It was that, or I was buying a pre-made tower. Like LG makes a tower.
Yeah.
I was like, it's either that, but
that's
anyway.
That's what I have to do when I replace mine, which hopefully won't go out for a little bit. But yeah, I have to do like it's stacked, and I don't really have much choice, so.
Yeah, same. We built it around the stacking, and it works better for apartments. And if you look into like European and Asian brands that are used to like these kinds of like tight spaces, in North America, it seems like they're mostly bought for like smaller apartment or Winnebagos, basically. If you look into those brands, there's a lot of options. So, and also like, I'll let you know how good a heat pump dryer is.
I'm fascinated.
I'm not a big dryer girl, to be honest. Like, I hang most of our clothes. I mostly use the dryer for bedding. For like our like towels, some clothing, our active wear, just to give it a bit of like a antibacterial through heat to get rid of the smells a few sometimes. But like, other than that, like I don't use it much. So I was even considering an all-in-one unit.
Oh.
Like LG and GE make one that's like, you start a load, they'll wash it and they'll dry it.
Yeah.
Because that would mean not having the stack and probably having a bigger machine, but not having two. I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I like the idea of the separate to be able to do a second load, especially since I hang a lot of stuff, so I can do a load, put it in the dryer, and then do another load, and then hang that load. Like, I don't know. I was looking at it, but I was like, I thought about it for 10 minutes, and then I walked in there, and the guy was just like, you need to get these stacks. He's like, well, they keep them dry. He's like, this is way more efficient. I was like, okay, Italian man that's been in the business for 20 years. Like,
I believe
sold me. Adulting is hard sometimes.
Yeah, it is. It is, especially those big purchases, because you're stuck with them, right, for a little while. So, so I was out of town last week. I went to North Carolina to visit my boyfriend's family. They live a little bit south of Raleigh. And so we had a really good time. The weather, though, was very hot. I was telling Kat before the pod, it was like 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like 32 Celsius, before 10 a.m. in the morning. And it was also very rainy. So
that doesn't help. That makes it like wet and
it was hot,
gross.
Yeah, like when it rained, everything steamed. Like the roads would steam, the cars would steam, everything would steam because it was so hot out.
Oh, thank you.
But we're thinking about, maybe we're going to move there. We're not sure. So it was good for us to probably go during some of the hotter seasons just to see what it's like. And honestly, like Minnesota doesn't get, we're hitting 90s soon here too this week. So it doesn't quite stay as like humid the whole time, but it's not too different. But it just made us not want to do a whole bunch of stuff outside. But, we did check out Raleigh, downtown Raleigh. Had really good barbecue. We never had North Carolina barbecue. And there's like a more vinegar-based barbecue, so I enjoyed that because I kind of like that a little bit more. And then one other cool thing we did is that we got to do a private tour of a tiger rescue sanctuary.
Oh.
And it's the only certified tiger sanctuary in the state of North Carolina. And one of Ryan's cousins, so to say, she volunteers there. And so she was in charge of feeding the animals treats. And so we got to follow her around as she did that. So we got to get like 4 feet close to these tigers as she's feeding them raw chicken. And
these tigers, are they like rich people thought they could make pets and then they can't be released in the wild, or is like stuff from zoos and circus?
Kind of all of the above. So there was actually a white tiger there that was a part of the Siegfried and Roy magic kind of show. And the poor thing, he was defanged and he was declawed.
Oh,
and
my God.
Like, you definitely can't, like, he's got to be somewhere where he's going to be able to live out his days. And just beautiful. They're so pretty. But yeah, they're from zoos. They're from animal shows. They actually have 2 tigers there that were from, I don't know if you remember the show that went bonkers right in the beginning of the pandemic, Tiger King.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, so he did not have a certified or like legal tiger sanctuary at all. It was not a good place for them to be. And so when he got investigated after the show, he got shut down because of illegal ways to house these animals. And so they got some of his tigers. And so we were able to see some of their tigers. And they had a lot of other animals too that were basically like people thought they could have these exotic pets. And then they're like, this animal is trying to murder me. And it's like, it's an exotic pet. Like, what are you doing? And so they have a lot of other animals that they can't place back out in the wild. Also, they are a part of the statewide initiative to prop up the red wolf population in the state of North Carolina.
Okay.
And so they have a whole section of their estate dedicated to the repopulation of red wolves. And so we couldn't go back there because they want to limit their interaction with humans, like as much as possible, because they want them to be afraid, right, of humans. They don't want them to be
releasable.
Correct, yeah. Okay. So that was cool. So yeah, so it's a really good place to go. Everyone was fantastic. The animals, like all of them, were very chill, which means that they're very comfortable, right? Nobody was upset or freaking out, and a lot of handlers would get like really close to feed them or things like that. You couldn't touch them, of course. No one can touch them. You're not supposed to touch any of them. Even the people that work there can't touch them. And so so if you're interested, and if you're in the North Carolina Raleigh area, that's the tiger. It's just like the North Carolina Tiger Sanctuary. I would definitely go back and like pay to go on a tour there because it was really, really cool. The other thing that we got to do, which was super fun, because it was pretty rainy one day, and so we were bumming around Durham and trying to figure out what to do, and we stumbled across an all-Japanese arcade called Zephyr Arcade in Durham, and we thought, we'll give it a shot. We kind of don't have anything else to do, and we got there, and it was really cool. We were really excited. It was $10, so you just kind of play a flat fee of $10. And they had about 20 different fully Japanese arcade games. And some of them are like new arcade games that are being released in Japan. So you kind of had your like Dance Rhythm games that were there. You had some older like DJ games, but then you definitely had Waka was one of our favorite ones. Waka was... There actually was a speed run of it in this last year, just this last Summer Games Done Quick. And it's like you kind of put your head in this like cone shape, and then there's a screen in the middle, and there's touch screens that are they're 360 all around your head. And so it's a rhythm-based game, and so when the bars like get to where you need to kind of tap, but you can tap like up above your head and on the sides, and it's a circle, so you can do like circular motions with your hand, and it lights up in really beautiful RGB colors, and we really enjoyed Waka, and we tried one called Musec, I think it's called. That one was really hard. They had like round discs that you would tap in combination with the music, and then then the buttons also spun like little mini like DJ sets. So you'd have to like push and then spin at the same time, and there was 6 plates you had to do that with, and then there was a tow bar that you also had to manage too, and that one was really that one was so hard.
I'm Googling all these games, and I'm like, holy shit, like, just seeing these setups.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I just found the one you're talking about, Musica Plus, and I'm like, okay, so I got a DJ with, like, 6 buttons, and tap something, or forget about it.
Yeah, it was a lot, but they offered a lot of different arcade games, and some of them were in full Japanese. They didn't even have like an English version. Speak American. And they have an English version. But it was cool because they were, like I said, they were all free to play. You just had to pay the $10 fee, and then they had old school arcade pads to play older arcade games with, and so they had like an N64, they had a GameCube, they had a Switch, they had a bunch of TV setups you could play console games if you wanted to. They had some tables set up if you wanted to play a card game. They had TVs going, and there also was a little shop if you wanted to purchase like anime or some plushies and things like that. So it was super fun. Again, if you're around that area, you're going to be visiting, and you kind of need to be inside for a little bit. It was really enjoyable. Everyone there was super nice. It was crazy to see some of the kids that go there all the time, and they're so good. And I felt like a grandpa. And I'm like, I can't even understand what's on the screen. How are you getting a perfect score?
It's not even in English, and there you are. Like, but it sounds like it looks. I found the website. It looks good. Like, it sounds like you found where all the weebs hang out in North Carolina.
100%. They were all there. Some of them because we did go on a weekday, which was actually kind of nice because then it wasn't super busy. But they were definitely doing some modeling, painting on one of the tables. They got their paints out and were doing that. They also do, this arcade apparently does traveling, so you can like rent them out. They travel, they go to different cons, and they loan out their machines. So anyway, it was really well run. The people that own it, we chatted for a little bit. They're very nice. I could see myself. It was nice because sometimes when you think of an arcade, you get like Time Trial 2 or like the really old school Mario or like a pinball machine. And I was like, let's just try this one out because it's like all Japanese games. And it was definitely worth the trip because I felt like it was a very unique experience to go and to play these games that you just really can't find at other arcade places. So, and
shout out arcades that do just like a flat fee to get in, and not pay per game. Honestly, nope. Shout out.
Yeah, you could be there as long as you want. They stamped your hand, so like if you went there and then you wanted to go get food and then come back because they didn't allow food in their area, but you could go and get food and you can come back and they wouldn't just like a 24-hour pass. So that was cool too. They do have a Discord if you want to join their Discord. But yeah, they were a cool place. I hope that more places like this kind of pop up because it's really fun and unique.
Good rainy day activity, that's for sure.
Yep. So, speaking of some games, let's check out what's happening on Fantasy Critic. I am going to do my best, and let's review what happened this last week. On the Girls on Games podcast, I have a lot of work to do on mine, but I don't think anything's happened since the 29th, June 29th.
No,
so,
we're basically waiting for games to release.
Yeah.
You still have 2 games to pick up, and Leah has a counter pick to choose. Those are pretty much it. So I think it's going to be smooth sailing until the end.
Yeah.
I just need my games to like release because I got a full roster, but only 3 games that have been released. So I am slim pickings on points, trailing far behind.
It's going to be a wild end of year. That's for sure. Yeah. So on the community league, it looks like the last bits of movement happened on the 13th. So I think you may have already reviewed this then. So it does look like the Sirius Cybernetics Corporation placed a bid and was successful for Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. And there was some bids successfully placed for Real Game Media had 2 bids of Persona 3 Reloaded and EA Sports College Football 25. It looks like they were able to snag those as there were no competition. And then the Sirius Cybernetics Corporation bid on a game, Thank Goodness You're Here, with a bid amount of $2.
That game looks so good. You should pick it up for ours.
I should. I was just thinking about that. I was like, I wonder if I should grab it. I should grab it.
You should. I think it's from the people that did Untitled Goose Game.
Oh. Well, then I'm for sure going to grab it. So, all right.
It feels very Goose Game, let's be honest.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Goose Game was so good.
It was so cute. It was ridiculous.
I love Goose Game.
Honk. All right. we do not have a walk down memory card lane. Because
we're not well organized enough for this.
No, we don't want to steal. I mean, be honest, we can't steal Leah's thunder either. She just loves to trip us up. And you did a good job, though. I listened to last week's episode. You did.
Oh,
that was
I
good.
struggled through that one. Every time they're like, "Hey, this Japanese publisher published this game," I never think like main game Nintendo. Like,
she's tricky. She's getting really good at throwing us off.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah,
she is.
As soon as she said the publisher, I think I was like, oh, I think it's this game. But you connected the publisher to Fire Emblem, so I was I was like, okay, yeah. All right. So, Kat, what have you been playing?
So I finished Dungeons of Hinterberg, which is the game that I reviewed last week. Mm-hmm. And let me check Steam real quick. I think it was definitely just like 20 hours to complete this game without like being a completionist. Like, like I explained, you can spend days to grind stats and stuff completing dungeons, and then gives you more time to work on your relationships with people. And I was like, I just want to do the dungeons. I would just want to do the puzzles. So I ended up just working on the relationships that gave me the unlocks that I wanted. I probably missed on a lot of story. But that's what YouTube is for. Let's be serious. Let me go to my library. Rules of Hinterberg. Yeah, I played for 22 hours.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. And I rolled the credits on it. So, honestly, review still stands. I really enjoyed this game. It was really fun. Really enjoyed the dungeon delving, the puzzles. And just the diversity in the types of dungeons and the types of puzzles as well was really nice. So, because that was done, I decided, like, I was just checking shit off my list this week. I finished, after that, I finished the main game of Horizon Forbidden West.
You did?
I did. Like, when I stopped to play this game to review it, I was, like, really towards the end there. Fuck, what a game. What a game. What a story. And I love that, without spoiling the ending, even if the game's been out for a while, I love that they still find a way to be like, hey, we could keep this story going. Like, clearly there's going to be more Horizon. And I'm just like, yes, please. Absolutely. Yeah. The only thing is that, unfortunately, Lance Reddick has passed away. So I don't know what they're going to do for Silence.
I don't know.
Because he was so good.
I know.
But yeah, so this weekend I'm probably going to sit down and start the Burning Shore DLC.
So good. So happy for you that you get to experience another excellent, the continuation of the excellence that is Horizon Forbidden West.
I just love how they made a game where they're like, what if we made a game where you fight robot dinosaurs? And I'm just like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in. And then this whole message about like climate change and societal collapse and everything is just, it's a good game. I do find there were some narrative plot holes there. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did this get approved? Like, this I'm sorry, this is going to be a bit of a spoiler, so if you guys want to wait, just scroll past a few 2 minutes. But, like, the fact that they killed Varl, and then Zoe's like, but I have his baby living in me. I'm like, I'm sorry, this is such weak. There's no reason why he had to go other than you wanted us to, like, I don't know, like, shock value. But then that whole cliche moment where she's like, but I'm also pregnant. I'm just like, they could have, that was very weak.
It was very weak. It felt like a little like, I can see maybe where you want to instill hope, right?
Yeah.
For the new generation or what's like to come. But that felt real flat for me too. I was like, this is like, weird.
Yeah, it felt super flat. I'm like, you did Varl dirty. Like, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Boo.
There are ways to do like character death and to feel the loss, and it felt flat. And after that, like the way the rest of the game went, it was just like, do you really miss him? Like, did we really need him to begin with? I'm just like, it's weird.
Yeah.
And also like the final boss, like her motive, like, yeah, come with me. I'm like, oh, that's weird. That's like very stalkery ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 points that I'm like, eh. But I still enjoyed the fuck out of that game. The rest of the story, the rest of the characters were amazing. Even like some of the side quests that are like, you know, not really tied to the main story. They're like one-offs. It's just like flavor for the world and the characters, and just having an excuse to just stay in that world longer. And it was like, thank you. But yeah, those are the 2 things towards the end of the game. I was like, really? We went on this journey together, and you're killing off my best friend, and you're giving me a disgruntled ex-girlfriend. Ugh. Whatever. At least like when I was like, this is so weak, at least I get to shoot her down. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yep. It's like, at least we can get this out of our way. But shout outs to Carrie Ann Moss though for that performance, because I thought that actress was great. Yes. Yes.
No, the casting in this game is so good. It's so good. Honestly, it's never like, I've never found any performance that fell flat. I think if stuff fell flat, it was clearly something with the storytelling.
Yep.
And like at the same time, I don't want to blame like the narrative team at Guerrilla, because I work in a game studio. I know like the kind of decision making that can lead to these moments. Whether it's like a decision that's out of your hand, or like running out of time, or things like that. Or maybe it's just like internally they thought it was super good, and once it's out of the world, people are like, because every person I've talked to, they were like, yeah, they did Varl dirty. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. And the ending, I was like, oh, this is the reason. I was like, you did such a good work at like building us up towards something. And then I was like, oh, but I will say that the DLC does help.
Yeah.
Like, it does help it. So.
Okay. Well, I'm going to jump into the DLC.
Yeah.
And let me click over to Horizon. I am at the hours playtime, 92.7 hours.
Woo!
Yeah, but imagine if I had done all the hunting grounds and the melee fighting pits and fought like the enduring, I would be like over 100. I decided not to do that, but I did a lot of the collectathons and a lot of the side quests. But that one, they were like, I was like, okay, if I'm gonna not do something, it's gonna be those. I'm sorry. I hate the melee combat. I avoid it if I can. And then the hunting grounds, they're just like so annoyingly hard, unnecessary hard. So I skipped those and just did stuff that was like, that gave me more insight into the world building. Like even like collecting all the black boxes. At least it give you a bit of story.
Did you do all the cauldrons?
I did. Of course, I did all the cauldrons.
Well, I don't know. I was just asking.
The cauldrons are the best part.
They are the best part. I agree. And then you get to. There was a new mechanic in this game which I really liked, but I won't spoil that either. But that was also a reason for me to do all the cauldrons, because then I wanted to have all of that power. So I was like, okay. So, which I thought was cool that they wrapped that into completing the cauldron. So.
Yeah. No. All in all, good game. Great game. Gonna jump onto the DLC, and then guess I'm gonna have to look through my backlog of what I'm gonna play next. I'm thinking maybe something chill and cute, like that little kitty big city thing.
Oh,
looks adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that. And then I think Star Wars is coming out soon. So
there's a lot of games coming out.
Yeah, so before I do Outlaws, maybe I should do Jedi. I haven't played the second Jedi game yet.
Oh, you haven't?
No. Oh. But I think it's finally trickled down to the base EA Play. So
okay.
I probably have access to it. I was just waiting for that.
Okay.
Honestly, because I already had like a bunch of games already bought and paid for and to play. So I was like, maybe by the time I get to it, it'll be included in my Game Pass. And there it is. So
yeah, Star Wars Outlaws does come out before Zelda. Okay. Because Zelda comes out in September. Okay.
Yeah, it's September, but Outlaws is August. I forget the exact date.
The 30th, the end of August.
Yeah, I should put in my pre-order at work for that.
Yeah, you 100% should do that.
Yeah, because I get two free games a year. So.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. I have very rarely used them all every year, honestly. So I think I'll get that one.
That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah. Well, they're like this year. My 2 free games are reserved for Shadows and Outlaws.
Yep.
That's what I've been doing and playing.
I did a thing that I wasn't sure I would ever do, but before I left, I did download Elden Ring.
Oh, did you try it? Did you try to play it?
I did try. There was attempts, many attempts. I don't want to know my death count, but it's that is a tough game.
Even Elden Ring being the more accessible one, the open world one, I'm like, this accessible by which standards?
I don't know, but so what I figured out, so I do kind of love it though, because it's very pretty. I did buy it on PS5 because I wanted to play it on my big TV. And so it runs great on the PS5, and it's beautiful, but it's such a steep learning curve. And so what I've done is I kind of tried it on my own for a little bit, and it was so funny because my boyfriend was like, "Don't buy it, you won't play it, it's too hard, don't buy it." And I'm like, I'm gonna buy it. So you're not my dad, so I bought it anyway, despite his warning. And within 10 minutes of me playing and me dying, he wanted to trade off on deaths. So he was in it. He was in it with me and playing it. It was so funny because I was like, oh, look who didn't want to buy this game, and now you're playing it. And so
every time you died, you would pass the controller.
Yeah, we'd pass the controller back and forth every death, and that happened frequently. So we got a lot of playtime in because we couldn't handle it. But what I've done is I'm trying to follow the route. Because in the beginning, I've heard that you kind of want to follow the route the game tells you to go. You don't really want to go off on your own because you'll get smoked. But I'm getting smoked right now. And I'm like, what do I do? Because I can't even get to the first, boss of the region. And so I'm looking up a lot of Let's Plays. And they're like, here's how you can kind of get a little OP if you're having troubles. And, it's like, go to this random hut and talk to this person. Then go to this random thing and collect all these collectibles, and then go over here. And so I'm trying to, and then don't die as you're doing that, because then you lose all your stuff. So I'm trying to figure all that out. So but I am having a good time suffering. We'll see how much longer I can tolerate it, but I am enjoying it so far. It's a really different type of game to play. It's really unique. I feel like I haven't played a game like this before, which is really cool that I'm still intrigued, and I kind of want to try to continuously, get good and learn the cycles of bosses and figure things out. So I did get that right before I left, and then for the trip, I took my own walk down memory card lane, and I picked up the Super Mario RPG Remake for the Switch. And I've been playing that. I've been having so much fun going to the areas. They did such a good job on this remake. It is chef's kiss. The music is still as incredible as the first one. They pretty much redid the levels shot for shot, pace for pace. The enemies are the same. They've added a few. They've upgraded some of the fighting mechanics, which is just really nice because you just don't need to grind as much as you used to, which is good. And it's so much fun. It's been so much fun playing the game, and even though I kind of know where all the secrets are and know where things are, it's just really fun to see the worlds and to be brought back to that. They also added these adorable cutscenes, and they did such a good job with the animation in the cutscenes so that you really are invited more into their world and their perspective, which really adds a lot of charm and experience to the game. So it's been a ton of fun. I will probably finish Super Mario RPG Remake, and then get back to Elden Ring until I wait for Star Wars Outlaws, I think. So I think Elden Ring was a good choice to try to hop in, suffer through, as much as I can, and then to get out and realize that I'm not a terrible gamer. I can play games. It's okay. But yeah, so it's been a fun dynamic so far. So
kudos to you for finally dipping your toe.
I just had to try. I had to try.
Yeah.
So
listen, like the FromSoft games are some of my boyfriend's favorite games, and he's beat them several times over.
It's crazy.
He came with me to a work barbecue, and he was chatting with one of my colleagues. And he was like, "Oh yeah, did you finish Elden Ring?" He's like, "What kind of run did you do?" He's like, "Well, my first run was this, and then my second was this, and then my third was this, and my fourth was this." And I'm just like, "Oh my god!" Like I thought he was just playing the same game like me, like doing it. Like how like he does. I do something and it just takes 100 hours. No, he just finished the game like 5 times over. So it's to the point where I'm like, I'm curious about trying, but at the same time, if I start playing this, I will never stop hearing about it.
Yeah.
Ever again. Every conversation will be from.
Yep.
Only for me to realize that I can't imagine if I tried and I'm like, wow, this game fucking sucks.
Yeah. I do think that the world looks, I think, a bit more interesting to me than the other Souls games, just because it has more color in it. Yeah. I'm just like, oh, color, that sounds good. And then it's so pretty. So I was like, all right, I think I can. I'll give it a shot. If I have to eat the money, I eat the money, but I give it to the studio. And I was like, well, whatever. So I thought if I'm gonna try a From game, I think it's gonna be this one. And so far, it's difficult, but it's okay. So. All right, let's get into the news of the week. And we're back. And I realized as we took our short break that I didn't kind of set the tone for the episode because I was just so excited to be hosting. I know. I was like, oh, I just got to go. But we do have some some news to cover. So, Kat, why don't you kick us off with the article that you found?
Yeah, so I don't know if we mentioned or we discussed the Game Pass new pricing in the podcast. I know we've discussed it at length in the Discord, and sometimes the two blur together. But essentially, they revamped the Game Pass, and basically, like the basic Game Pass is getting a big downgrade. And then every other type of Game Pass is getting a price increase. So Game Pass Ultimate going from $16.99 US to $19.99 US a month. PC Game Pass going from $9.99 US to $11.99 a month. And then there's like the new basic Game Pass. It's called Game Pass Core, including online console multiplayer, but it will not include game releases day one. So it's a bit like the basic EA Play. They're going basically with the EA model. Mm-hmm. So the FTC came out and was like, see, this is why we didn't want you buying all these game studios.
That's right.
So in a letter filed with the U.S. Court of Appeal, the FTC said Microsoft's actions are inconsistent with what the firm had previously said about price increases. That it is exactly the sort of consumer harm from the merger the FTC has alleged. So, new prices coming into effect on September 12. And the FTC is like, ugh. FTC,
we felt bad doing it and we feel bad now.
Yeah. And the FTC said that in discontinuing Xbox Game Pass for the console tier that becomes like the Game Pass standard that we said that doesn't include Game One, the FTC said, quote, users of that product must pay 81% more to switch to Game Pass Ultimate. It added that the new Game Pass standard tier costs 36% more than the Game Pass for console and doesn't include game releases at launch. The FTC also highlights that the price change coincides with Call of Duty coming to Game Pass.
Shocking.
Shocked Pikachu face. So one final quote from the FTC. Microsoft post-merger action thus vindicate the congressional design of preliminary halting merger to fully evaluate their likely competitive effects and judicial skepticism of promises inconsistent with the firm's economic incentives. That's a lot to say like, before you buy, we got to look at it because y'all too greedy.
Yep.
So... and of course, earlier this year, the FTC, pointed at Microsoft as like, you laid off like almost 2,000 employees from Activision post-merger. So, yeah. So anyway, Microsoft can't take a step without the FTC being like, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Where are you going?
Exactly. Well,
what are you doing?
As they should be. That's exactly the role of the FTC. So, yeah, you knew this was going to go up. Like, you knew Game Pass couldn't be at the price it was for as long as it was. So I actually expected the price to go up more than it did. And so I mean, I'm not happy that I have to pay more, but I'm like, well, with tax, I think it'll be like $5 more altogether, US dollars, than what I'm paying now. So...
yeah, for me also, it's like a good like $6 or $7 increase a month. Mm-hmm. So I'm starting to look at it and be like, is it worth it?
Yeah.
Am I still using it that much?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to go back to buying game per game? I know a lot of like discussion has been in some of my discords with game devs being like, yo, Game Pass is so anti-consumer and anti-game dev, and it's like, you shouldn't like buy into this. But like the original offering was so good, like it's like Spotify, right? You're starting to realize they were running at a loss, and now you're just like, yeah, maybe I should buy all my fucking games.
Yeah.
So I'll see. It's a decision I will have to make. Like, I got to look at all my subscription and cut some of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was doing that too. So one of the issues, though, with that is that I password share to so many people now is that when I want to cancel something, I have to, like, check in with, like, 4 people. Like, hey, do you use this? How often do you use this? Would you be mad if I canceled this? Because I'm just I'm like, oof, I'm trying to maybe... just to see if I really need everything that I pay for. And there's been a few where I'm like, they're more on the higher end of subscriptions, especially for TV. Yeah. But some of the other streaming services, though, are being bundled or they're offering more. And I'm like, well, now everything's overlapping. So I'm paying multiple times for a channel or a service. And I'm like, I don't think I really need this now. And I don't know. So, but somebody else uses it that doesn't have all the other ones. And so I'm either like, okay, hop on all my stuff, or like, I want to get rid of this one kind of more expensive one. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, I canceled my Prime because they started putting advertising before shows, even if you pay for it. I'm like, all right, you know what? You're going to see me churn in, churn out. I'll churn in for Fallout Season 2 and then cancel 30 days after. Like,
I was mad. Shit. I was like, what am I paying for? I have to see an ad. They don't offer any other tiers. That's just what you get.
Honestly, the only non-regret subscription I have is YouTube Premium.
Oh.
Because I don't use Spotify. I use YouTube Music. So I upgraded our YouTube Music to YouTube Premium. No ads on YouTube ever on any devices.
Oh, that's
I have the family plan. I have we're 6 people on that one account. We are squeezing every penny out of that subscription. Like, that's the only one I find like it's a no-brainer. Just because it's also my music, right?
Yeah.
Just YouTube, I'd be like, eh. But YouTube and music, yes. So I'm like, Game Pass, the new one that's like, they're fucking up, and I'm like, do I really want to keep paying for this? Especially since like I've been doing a lot of PC gaming right now, and I'm kind of like looking at like maybe a Steam Deck. I'm like, yeah, Game Pass is gonna, unless I get something that I can have Game Pass for PC installed on it and then downgrade the Game Pass?
It's harder to get Game Pass installed on the Steam Deck than it is on the Ally.
Okay. Because you have the Ally. That's what.
Yeah, for the Steam Deck, you have to kind of do unless they patched it, which they might have. I didn't keep up with it, but I would look into that because you have to do some
jailbreaking
engineering magic to get it
jailbreaking
to work. But for the Ally, they have oh no, I forgot their software that puts everything together.
It's basically a handheld Windows computer.
Yeah, it's a handheld Windows computer, and then they have oh no, I forgot what it is, but they have like basically where all your apps like sit in one place, and then you can update them everywhere. So like I have my Steam and my Xbox, let's see here, what is there? Some other things that are all in Armored Core. That's what it is. It's an Armored Core, and that works perfectly. So like it works seamlessly for my Ally, but on the Steam Deck I was not smart enough to use it. So I was like, okay, don't want to.
Okay.
So
no, I'm not big into buying something and having to jailbreak it.
Yeah. No, I'm not tech enough for that. So, well, I'll just go ahead then and get to our last article here. And so because I was in North Carolina and I went to this arcade, it kind of got me thinking about, is there a future for arcade gaming? I don't think that this shop has been here very long, but I just wanted to kind of do some searching and see like kind of what's going to happen, because it was a fun activity to do. It was it was cheaper than a movie for sure, and you could become a member and you would get discounts on like a monthly membership. So you could go like at any time throughout the whole month. And so I was curious of like what's going to happen in the arcade market. And I found an article from SkyQuest that talked about arcade gaming market insights. And it says global arcade gaming market size was valued at USD 3.79 billion in 2022. In 2022, when we were kind of still all stuck at home and like not supposed to do a whole lot, but that's what it was valued in 2022, and is poised to grow from 3.98 billion in 2023 to 5.95 billion by 2031.
Wow.
So growing at a CAGR rate of 5.14% during the forecast period of 2024 through 2031.
All right. Well, I mean, it might not be that steep of a growth, but 5% is a lot. And it's just like for something that people thought was possibly dying.
Yeah.
It's apparently thriving.
It will not die. It's apparently not. It's going to thrive. We're going to enter the arcade era. That's what we're going to be doing apparently.
I mean, I would rather spend my membership at a place like that than whatever Game Pass is starting to become. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, and so this global arcade gaming market, how they got their numbers was segmented by type, genre, end users, and region. So based on type, the market was segmented into video games, simulation games, and mechanical games. Based on genre, the market is segmented into racing, fighting, puzzle, and others. Further by genre, the market is segmented into gaming hubs, semi-commercial, and residential. So based on the region, the market is segmented into North America, Europe, Asia Pacific, Middle East, and Africa, and then Latin America. And so, yeah, it was an interesting article that talked about that let's see here. So as the older generation revives their 80s and 90s arcade culture, whereas youngsters, through video gaming experience, the delight of physical controls, the vintage of physical controls alongside video gaming also provides ease of playing at home. The demand for simulation games is predicted to increase at a rapid pace in the global arcade gaming market going forward. So simulation games helps people develop critical thinking, and with most people trying to improve their mental health, they are more inclined to play simulation games to enjoy and build good mental health at the same time. So they're kind of talking about, who the demographic is going to be, the regions, and it seems like fighting and racing are, kind of the cream of the crop as would be expected. That you're kind of looking at some markets that are interested in that simulation too. The largest market, of course, is the North America plus Canada, and it looks like, so basically the top half of the continent. The fastest growing market is in China, which was interesting.
Yeah, I'm thinking that a place like that's known for arcades like Japan is probably reaching a certain saturation point.
Yeah, I would think. Mm-hmm.
Where like right now it's places like that place you went to in North Carolina that's importing these machines from Japan that is like basically showing like market growth.
And they're new machines and they're current. This is like what's like the current in Japan. Like it's
okay.
Like when they talked about Waka on Summer Games Done Quick, like it's kind of a newer thing that's hit the scene. And this arcade had one of those machines, and another machine that they also noted is like a new machine in Japan.
Okay.
So they're able to get these machines and have them work over in the U.S. So the article like continues to go into more in depth. I just thought that was really interesting because I kind of thought I would see like you thought, like maybe the decline of arcades and the projection to be a bit bleak, but it looks like that's not the case.
Post-pandemic is picking up.
I think
like
so.
For what I've noticed here in Montreal, it's not necessarily new arcades, but it's a lot of like VR places. Mm-hmm. More than anything, where you have the thing where you can do a VR and like walk. Like really the big simulation setup is what's like I've seen pop up more than like retro arcades.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that it will become more and more popular to have the pods for the VR games, right? Where you can go in and you're going to have your own headset and you'll have your little space where you can like run around in and do your gaming on. I just wonder how much that will cost. Like the economics of it will be interesting, but yeah,
it's definitely you pay per hour. The places I've seen in Montreal is you pay per hour. You pay for time slots and stuff like that, or you can pay a premium price to have it for the day or to do events.
Okay,
or there are places like Arcade Montreal where it's like all the machines are free, you just pay your entry, but that one's a bar, so it's a barcade. So unfortunately it's 18 plus.
Yeah.
So I can't show up and show my nephew and my niece like, hey, look, it's Duck Hunt. I used to play this as a kid with your dad. I can't do that until they're 18.
Yeah. Well, that was a cool thing about this place is that they didn't really have any food. Like you could bring in water. They encouraged you to hydrate. And they had some snacks, but because there wasn't an age threshold, it was kind of fun to see a bunch of different age ranges there. And it was also cool because you saw some parents there with their kids, and they're just trying to like keep up or be interested. But it was nice that you could go and kind of just a place to hang out, like a social or like a community space. And I thought that was really cool too. That if, like you said, like all the plebs, like they were all there. So.
It's like we need more third spaces, and that's one thing. Yeah. But if you're like a nerd in the gaming community, and you go like to the gaming store to trade cards and buy cards and trade cards and play cards, like that's what we talk about. Like when we're losing third places, you have a third place, like a place where you can go and just hang out with your friends. And I think arcades and game stores are so important for that reason, because like for nerds like us, it's a no-brainer to go, and then you can you automatically have something in common with everybody there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And then, like, if you wanted to watch, like, talk about it, like, you have that touch point of, like, you're going to experience this, like, new game or experience this thing, and everyone enjoys it. And, there was definitely a lot of people there, like, in groups of friends, and which was really cool like to see that people wanted to go there to just to hang out. It brings the good vibe, especially like we were there on a Wednesday at like 4. So these, the kids are out of school, they need somewhere to go, and like they could definitely hang out there, and it was a good spot. So
bring back the arcades from the 80s and 90s.
Yay, yeah. All right. Well, with that, we'll conclude our show. Make sure to check out our show notes on girlsongames.ca for links to all the stories mentioned in the episode. Thank you, Kat, for doing that as always. If you want to talk about your favorite arcade place, or if you're mad that the Xbox subscription went up, leave a review and rate the podcast wherever you're listening. It helps us out. We'd like to hear what you have to say. Thank you, Kat, for joining me today on the slim crew that we have. Where can people find you on the social medias?
Yep, I am CSDSBANSSWA on X, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky. I'm always in the Girls on Games Discord. I am, like I said, slowing down social media, but I'm always in the Discord, and I will definitely post photos of my appliances when they get here.
Oh,
it's been a journey. I'm going to show them off.
Amazing. Can't wait. And again, my name is Joelle Anderson. You can find me on Instagram at JoelleLauren87 or on X at gamer_comfy. But I'm also always lurking and chatting on the Discord. You can find us on Discord at discord.me/girlsongames. If you want to follow us on X or Facebook, we're The Girls on Games. On Instagram and Threads, we're on Girls on Games, no the in there. And of course, our website is girlsongames.ca. Thank you, Kat, for joining me. It's been a great week in video games. I am off to enjoy my time with Mario on his adventures in RPG World.
Bye.
Bye.